Hi guys, Jonathan here, and today I'd like to show you a quick demonstration on the UR5 simulation. We're going to simulate a pick and place scenario, and to do this we're going to be using the RoboDK software and as well as the VM malware to do the UR5 simulation as well. So we're going to be teaching this machine. This is called the UR5. It stands for Universal Robot 5. The 5 means a payload of 5. Um, Payload basically means the maximum mass it can carry. So 5 would mean 5 kilograms, right? So here we have a block here as well. And this is the little bowl that we're going to be putting our block into. Okay, so the reason why I'm making this video is not to really teach you on how to get this setup done. This setup can be done really easily. It's actually provided in Brightspace as of 2022, right? But the reason why I want to make this video is to actually give you guys a little bit of tips and as well as some concerns as well. Mainly because I spent quite some time trying to figure out how to get this done when it's actually quite simple. And here goes, right? So basically, the first thing you want to make sure is that all the namings are exactly the same as that of the instructions given in the video on Brightspace, right? So my mistake was that I renamed or like named my gripper wrongly. So for example, instead of gripper opened, I named it as gripper underscore open. And what happens is that it doesn't work. It'll give you a Python error, right? There'll be this pop-up screen and they're telling you that there's some Python return error or something like that. Well, the reason why it says that is because all these are really name sensitive. These are like functions. They are actually Python scripts that you can actually find in the RoboDK's Python libraries. So if you actually change the name to something other than gripper open and you try to program it over here, right? It will work. It will give you some error, right? So I've actually been trying to figure out, and it turns out that this was the reason. The names are really important. If you miss a space, you also have to you'll get an error as well. Okay. Even these bowls, tables, and box, you do have to name them accordingly, right? If not, um, your gripper may not be able to pick them up. I'm not too sure about these like the bowls, the tables, and the box, but I'm definitely sure about the gripper, right? So if you mess up the names of the gripper and just to be extra safe, try to get the order right. So the gripper, the opened one should be first, and then followed by the closed one, and then the opened one should be visible. You see the checkbox here; it should be a tick, and the gripper closed should be invisible, right? And one more thing, before we start, this UR monitoring master, this is really important. So a couple of my friends and I, we bumped into this error where basically this wasn't working properly. So what happens is that this little UR monitoring master, you can actually find it in your Brightspace, all right? But uh, and there should be nothing wrong with it, but for some issues my friends and I couldn't actually activate this. So basically what this does is this basically connects your RoboDK your RoboDK's setup in over here into your VMware workstation, right? So basically you're gonna be teaching your robot how to move left and right, up, down, pick and place from here, and it will correspond to the actions over here, right? So this is basically the key. Without this, whatever you do on over here, on this is what we call the teaching pendant, by the way. It's a simulation of the teaching pendant. Whatever you teach the robot over here um will not correspond to the actions here, right? So you must have this working properly. And the reason why this may not work properly could possibly be because you didn't download, oh sorry, one of the Python files, namely Python 37. So I'll quickly show you right here. So it'll give you an error. It'll say like something like some Python file, again some kind of Python error. But really, what they're trying to tell you is that when you go over the tools, you go to options, I think. Yes, and then you see here Python, right? You should see this, the Python interpreter. should be this C RoboDK Python 37. The key thing here is you must have Python 37, and the what this is it's another folder that may not be downloaded when you download RoboDK, right? So when you download it from Brightspace, I understand that if you're gonna be doing this project now, you probably should have done the assignment, which is your CA4, and that one requires another software called Robot Studio, and over there in Robot Studio, there's also another Python file. So the thing is, Python 37 here of the RoboDK may not be downloaded onto your computer even though you download the entire package, because there may have been some conflict with the previous software, Robot Studio, because you have to understand that Robot Studio has also got its own Python file. So just make sure you don't accidentally click like replace or like exclude this Python 37. You must make sure it's included, right? So only once it's included, you can actually use the URL monitoring master properly. I mean, it's easier to use it. If it doesn't really work, actually I did some research and you don't really need Python 37. It actually works well with other Python as well, but you have to download it from an external source. Not really recommended. I just suggest using the Python 37 because that's what its original file is supposed to be, right? So without further ado, let's begin the simulation. So here I'll just double click the URL monitoring master. Okay. Yeah, and as you can see, like you can see like some target orientations, these like rotational axes. If you want to get rid of them, I think pressing alternate on your keyboard should get rid of them, as we just did here. And to begin, we make sure that we are connected. So connect the robot. Okay, maybe right now it's disconnected. We can quickly get it connected. Okay, and then now you just have to double click on this, and then notice that an orange arrow just popped up. This is to tell you that you're actually synchronized with the VMware already, right? The workstation, the pendant. Okay, so let's make sure we're all set. So on, as you can see on the left of the screen, I'm currently moving to the different steps, and then I'm gonna start from my home. So this is the home position, and let's see if I can start. Okay, so now we're moving to the approach pick. As you can see, it's turning red. I mean blue. It picks it up and grips onto it, moves it, releases it, goes back to home. Alright, and then as you can see now it's at halt. So basically halt tells the operation to stop. Right, so it's not a repeating loop. Without halt, it will continuously repeat. Right, so notice that now the box has moved positions. Now it's under the table, right? And to basically reset the entire position, you have to do it manually. So first step is to disconnect from the monitoring master. You can just do that by right clicking, and then it says stop Python script. We'll quickly do that. Next is we'll move the box back to its frame table, right? And then what we're going to do next is we're going to set the coordinates of the box again. So the coordinates that I'm using is actually quite similar to the one on Brightspace, but there's a minor tweaks to it. So it's still -500 for the X, 100 for the Y, but over in the Z axis, I'm going to change it to about 41, right? So the reason why I change it to 41 is if you follow Brightspace one, which is set at 0, it syncs into the table, right? So 41 works for me. Okay, so yeah, 41's quite good. And also note that the box you're using, try to make sure you label it as box 1 as well, again because of the Python files, and they are really name sensitive, right? So the box we're using is not going to be the same as the one that's on the Brightspace video. The one they're using has like a hole inside, so it doesn't really matter. Just make sure you get the names right and the scaling of it as well. So this one you can just scale to your preference. Maybe just make sure that it fits the mouth gripper as well, right? So I'll play it one more time. Okay, let's so it's going now. Closes its gripper, places it in the bowl, releases its gripper, goes back to home, and then we're done. Right? So I hope these little tips clear things up, and hopefully you won't have to struggle as much as I did. Alright, with that, see you and good luck.